There's the real magic.
And the real communicator too.
The communicator.
The perfect communicator.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
So Bob, if I want to make sure that you are feeling fulfilled with what is being said here, and that you're communicating what it is that you really wanted to communicate, because this is your time to do that. I'm sure we can't wrap it all up here.
The best communication is just these pages, which I've isolated out of over 150 pounds of paper, to be a guide to the understanding of number in terms of geometry. Here's a picture, for example, of the alphabet in a spiral around the zodiac.
Oh, right.
So, A and E.
Gosh, it's beautiful the way the
Even the
patterns repeat
association,
themselves.
Your crossed fishes, X, falls right there. Aquarius, the double, the water, the W. The Capricorn, a ram and a fish,
Yeah.
click, click. Here's the fish and here's the ram. So in this section, the triangle section, is like more involved in the next section, more involved yet, But the symbolism is all in there, like the octave and the serpent, Scorpio.
I'm gonna put that up there so we can get a shot of that.
That's not an accident. Like there's a rational thing going on in language. I mean, there's a great degree of rationality in our language. This guy I've been dealing with in Rhode Island, he's trying to think, that I'm saying that all language is bullshit. I'm not, that such as it is, it keeps things together to a certain point, But there is still a flaw in it. It's got to be recognized if you want to be a little more rational. And these little notations with little finite pieces of information and numbers, I look at these all as here, for example, this is 666, 2 times 2 is 1332, and half is 66. So this is time, times, and half a time, And then you add them together and you get the reversal, see?
Oh, yes.
See? Same with 360, 360, 720, and 180. Time times and half a time, gives you 1260 times 2 is 2520. So this is time times and half a time. That's the way it's written. And this is Revelation 12, or 13, 1318. Gives you this number, and you add these two reversal, you get a 4-digit palindrome, which is on here.
Right.
And this is 37. That's why 37 is a key number. 37 times 36, and 37 is 63, the reversal, 36 and 63.
Oh, jeez.
You add those together, you get 99. And that's in there, it holds the whole octave together.
Yeah.
In that pattern. And then you can take these first basic numbers, for example, 234 is 432, that's actually Yuga. You add those two together and you get 666, which is 18 times 37. you know. And then you add these 5, 6, 7 together, and you get a multiple of 37, you know. And then you add the next, you know, 8, 9, and 10. I put the 10 as a Roman. You get the same thing. You get a multiple and a multiple of 99. So you got that relationship between 37 and 99.
God,
It goes on.
That's amazing.
35, 36, and 37. You know.
So Bob, you used a lot of references from the Bible with numbers.
Well, that's where all the key numbers came from. I mean, you know, like in everyday metrology, you know what I mean? 12 inches in the foot, and the 24 hours, and the 60 minutes, and, you know, those numbers. And then besides that, the numbers that we get from religious writings, secular and which they complement a lot with those basic metrological numbers.
Well, how do you see the, you know, Ezekiel refers to the wheel in the wheel. How do you
What?
see that? Ezekiel refers to a wheel in a wheel.
Wheels within a wheel?
Yeah.
Isn't that what this is?
And that's what I was, well, that's what I was reminded of. That's why I was asking about that.
What context you put it in? I mean, you know, like, yes, wheels within, you could say figure eights within figure eights, you know. You know, figure eight octave is ideal picture of that octave. It's 4 forward and then goes down 4 reverse. 4 forward, 4 reverse. It's showing you that what Bucky Fuller was pointing out to the mathematical community about the octave of 4 forward and then 4 reverse event octaves with a ninth null event. You know, 9 meaning no in German. 9 it means no, nothing. You know, null event. That cycle starts out with a 9 and ends with a 99, or begins again with a 99. But anyway, it's just this. I'm just showing here that those you take all the picture, all the numbers that you find in the Book of Revelations, you'll find right here are key numbers. That 7 and 12 and 144 and 1260. And 37, you know, because of the 666 and 37 comes in there. And then also there's a mention of a multiple of 108, I think it's 432 or 864, that's in that, within that 21 books. You know. That those critical numbers, you know, that this is all reduced down to, that's what this, all the study is reduced down to those key critical numbers that's necessary to see these patterns. Yeah. And the rational way that was put out, see, this is how these things were got done, is that you got 8 across this way, right? And 2, you know, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, you know, and that's how that wheel goes around, you know, it this starts out this way and it ends in the reverse, you know, but it crosses in the middle and by symmetrical, you know. This is that 12 holotome, you know, that the primes are opposed from each other, 5 and 11, 7 and 1, you know, and then 3 and 9, 9 is 3 times 3, see, click. So that's a square, you mean? And that relationship between the squares and the primes and the composites has got to be brought out. The thing is, with number study, or what they call a theory of number, or number theory, they ignore that relationship between, you know, square. You know, if you start with that, you find out what the squares and composites and all that, and how they can be reversed, then you see the pattern. But if you ignore that, you'll never find out the patterns that's in prime numbers, because they would be totally irrational. You're only looking at one side of it. How can there be symmetry if you look at just numbers in one direction? the symmetry is lost, you know. So the only way you can get the symmetry back is like this wheel, you know. You can take especially those numbers that are key numbers that that are divisible by more, you know, like 12, 24, 72, and those numbers in that sequence that are the minimal sums that accommodate the maximum amount of divisors, and that is what's rational in the number patterns, you know. And when you can see that, then the rest of it all comes clear, you know. Then you can understand how these things work. But that's reducing all these things into the simplest terms, you know. Because there's a lot of complicated pictures here too, you know what I mean, which probably wouldn't make any sense to anybody, you know what I mean, like that. Unless you really was into number, you know, like somebody that's into number theory would see it, you know what I mean? But unless you really applied yourself to that, you'd never be able to make any sense out of it. Here's like a spreadsheet that's 9 times 11 is 99. And this has been a mystery too. Number 7. 1 divided by 7 is 1,428,571,428,571,248, and it goes on forever. You know? Because 1 is bullshit, it's all, it means all, and it means forever, you know what I mean? And so there you have that 7 sequence has mystified all these guys into numbers for a long time, you know what I mean? And if you take that and shift it, the 1,428,571,428, and if you stagger it 4 places, you got a 3-digit cyclation, and then you got 9999999 forever.
God.
You know what I mean?
Wow. Yeah.
So that's the solution to the prime number enigma, you know, of the 7 sequence enigma, which is in number theory, you know, that's something they've tried to figure out, you know, for the last 150 years without even coming close.
I have a question. Is it possible to look at 0 and the number 1 as both meaning the same thing? If if 1 is all and 0, what is 0?
Neither one of those ideas are meaningful until you have the retromech in between. You know, that's what makes them rational or possible, you know. In other words, they don't just come out of nothing, you know, like 1 and 0 is like all and nothing, you know, same thing, you mean?
That's what I was
And we don't know anything about all and we don't know nothing about nothing, you know.
Yeah.
But we do know that all and nothing are the opposite of each other, you know, and that the retromech, the reversal mechanism in between, and without that, they would not appear
Neither
to our mind.
This is the 3.
Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
the 3.
Yeah.
But the 2 couldn't exist without the second.
Yeah, right. The third member is there to make it rational.
That's
And that's why it's forever been irrational, you know what I mean? And it's plagued everybody about 1 and 0, you know what I mean? And all these, you know, there's a bunch of books written.
That's really the foundation of the whole thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
It seems like.
Yeah, it's so simple. It's just too simple.
It's so simple
you know?
that it's mind-boggling.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. You got it. That's why it's damn near impossible to reach a guy that's studied mathematics for 50 years, you know what I mean? Just like Fuller, I mean, Fuller missed the point on the turnaround. He said it turned around at 50. Well, it don't turn around on a number. It turns around between 2 whole numbers, 49 and 50, 49.5. See, it starts out with 0.5, you know, and that 0.5 stays in there, and in all those cycles, reversal is that 0.5, you know. Half of this 1, which is all, you know what I mean? We're taking the all and cut it in half, you know what I mean? But all is bullshit, you know what I mean? We don't know nothing about that. You know, all we know about is, you know, a finite number.
There has to be some relationship
Yeah,
for us
right,
to
relationship, you got it.
have an
Yeah.
understanding.
And that's what this is all about, is these relationships. And they're not seen unless you see what makes a relationship. You know, and what makes it is a mechanism of retrocity. And that is what's been ignored. And that's what even Fuller ignored when he said numbers turn around at 50. They don't, because they turn around between a whole, you know what I mean? They turn around between an odd and an even, you know what I mean? You know, so you can't choose one of the two, but he chose the even number, which is probably the most rational in his frame of mind, is to choose an even number, because more of them are rational than the others, because there's primes mixed in the others, you know. But 2 starts out a cycle. In other words, all numbers, every other number past 2 is always divisible by 2. See, so that establishes a cycle, you know what I mean, that goes forever. But its relation to that and turning around between an odd and an even, you know what I mean, then it all becomes rational, because you're recognizing the mechanism that permits that, even to consider 1 and 0. You know. But it's ignored, you know what I mean, like it doesn't mean anything, you know. But given a specific word, a name, or any synonym, you know, that is permissible, you know. A favorite term lately has been this reciprocity. Reciprocity means what goes, you know, that's in between the 0 and 1, reciprocity. And that's what's universal, you know.
It's a big concept.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
is.
yeah, that's what's universal.
Everything hinges on that.
A key concept.
But it's just too goddamn simple to register on a mind that's been indoctrinated, and, you know, with this
That's
thing of either or, you know.
exactly. That's exactly the problem.
Yeah. Either or, neither, or both. All comes out of that.
In traditional thinking,
Yeah.
in thinking in the box, indoctrinated thinking. That's
Traditional not thinking, yeah.
Does this kind of thinking that we're speaking of, could you think of that as linear thinking versus what we see here, which seems mostly to be things circling? I see a lot of circles.
Yeah, well, it's wheels within wheels is a spiral.
Yeah,
you know?
and I'm wondering
You
if
know,
the
wheels within
linear
wheels.
thinking is maybe where the problem lies.
Well, the atomic table, as the Russian Mendeleev put it, was a biaxial. It was this way and this way, biax, you know, just across. And he found that there's a rhythm in there. You know, they call it periodic table. The periodic is that he goes 18 this way and then comes back and does another 18, and then he finds out that the argon, krypton, and xenon, and all that lie on this axis, you know, and so on, and that it becomes somewhat rational in a binary way, you know what I mean? But it didn't make any sense to me. It didn't show me how it helped any student of chemistry understanding the interaction of chemistry or crystals or whatever, you know. So I spiraled it around the 12, the zodiac, and I found a more meaningful pattern. It was this opposition or trine thing, brought this 3 thing into it as a foundation, you know. It made me more aware of this universal mechanism which is universally ignored.
So there's a tremendous teaching tool
Yeah,
involved here.
Yeah.
In more of a spiral, the wheel within a wheel.
yeah. And you have this thing in chemistry of elements that will click and don't, repel. Some elements are attracted. And then you have what the compounds and all that is so many atoms of oxygen or phosphorus or whatever make up a rational chemical, or composition of atoms, and so that's all in there, with number. I mean, number is actually, if you have 108 elements, then you can call that last element impusorium. That's like, this guy said he's watching this little girl drinking milk, and he said, hell, that was God pouring God into God.
Wow. Oh, that's beautiful.
I lost her, especially on this thing about the TRIVM interface.
That was Iona?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That, cut the communication. In other words, she couldn't see the rationality of that, that it's just too much, to see where this up is reversed down, right is reversed forward. Like, that didn't mean anything at all, but there's 3 elements of reversal happening at the same time, simultaneously. You got up and down, right? And that's all in there when you describe anything. Describe an internal combustion engine or whatever.
It's included in
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah. In fact, cycloretroscillation is that, that internal combustion engine is a reciprocating engine. Pistons go up and down, and the wheel goes around. See? So what goes around comes around. It turns around as it comes around.
Yeah. So where do we get, when do we get perpetual motion? A perpetual motion
It
device?
is there. It's
I mean, we're in it and working on it,
How can you
but,
not get it?
but it's like,
You're looking for it. You're in it.
where do we buy the package? Where do we buy the kit?
Yeah. We put it in our car.
Yeah.
Yeah, make our refrigerator run with it.
Absolutely.
Well, I built some machines. I done a journeyman card on tool and die making, so I learned to run a shop, and make things, and that was an important part of it, to really get oriented into that technology, how these ideas have affected technology as it went along, And Leonardo da Vinci, he had all his helicopters and stuff because
That's
he
right.
figured
Yeah, helicopters
wonderful.
and submarines and all
That's
sorts of
just
things.
fantastic.
Yeah.
yeah, he was afraid that he'd be, burned at the stake.
That's right. Well,
It's amazing how similar
Yeah,
to
yeah.
Michelangelo's.
He was my best teacher, and it was actually his one mistake, that made this synchrographic stuff happen, because without that one mistake, the turnaround in number, in other words, the 2-digit range of number, turned around between 49 and 50, not on 50. But that was the rational way that he would naturally see it, being stuck with this number 1 thing.
And that's what opened the door for you.
Yeah, yeah. To this approach of trying to look at number and, as an ambidirectional continuum,
Have you got that letter? Is that letter handy?
yeah, it's in there. The first two VCRs that come to this continent come into Vancouver, 1970, 69. And I bought the 2 first copies, Sony. And that was, then wasn't long after that, the price, it started out was $2,000 for a VCR, And you need 2 of them to do any editing,
Right.
So I had to buy 2 of the goddamn things. that was a thing that I done with the mantelometer. Is you take you have a piece of fish line, which when light hits it, it lights up, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So you got that, and you got the camera facing the monitor, you know, so the camera is looking at itself, you know, and a reversal going on.
Oh, right.
And if you take this line and light it up, you know what I mean, if you turn it to this increment of 108 or whatever, you know what I mean, you get the increments, you know, they go around. And then you generate these mandalas. So you're seeing these equations happen, you know, in video feedback, you know. And
That must have been
all
fun.
those, I lost all those tapes, you know.
Ron, could you just engage him for a minute in conversation so I can get some close-ups of him listening to you?
Yeah, okay. So Bob, it's been, you know, I'm just thinking that the last couple of years, you coming here
Yeah.
and that we're having these conversations has been, you know, very interesting for me. And, you know, I'm just wondering, I've oftentimes wondered, what have you gotten out of it?
Well, the questions, you know, like you asked interesting questions. And you do too. You know, you ask some interesting questions, you know. And these are the ones I feel that I can answer in a rational way.
Mm-hmm. Well, your last comment about the little girl drinking milk,
Oh, yeah.
of
God pouring God into God.
yeah.
I don't know where that come from. I think it was one of the famous authors. You
Mhm.
know.
Well, sometimes I get the feeling that it's just, you know, me talking to myself in these conversations
Yeah.
and trying to
Well,
explore
you know,
something.
How do you gauge your intelligence? You know, is by the person you're talking to, how stupid they are. You know. You know, and you do that with your head. You know what I mean? How in the hell do you know? You know, what I mean?
Uh-huh.
Because you might not be understanding a damn thing he's saying.
Right. Well, you know, you coming back here is quite a compliment for me then. I didn't realize I was so stupid
Yeah. Well,
or so smart.
yeah.
You know, because you got to have one and the other,
Yeah.
right?
You
Working
can know
both
things,
together.
you know, all you have to have is something pointed out. I mean, you already know it. You know about this mechanism of atrocity, you know what I mean? But just nobody ever mentioned it.
It's true. That's true. He's absolutely right.
Mhm.
It's something you recognize instantly
Yeah.
when it's explained to you. But it's so obvious,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Right.
That's true.
Yeah, well, the other thing for me that's interesting is that I can't say that I understand everything you're saying because I certainly don't have the background. But there's a place, an intuitive knowing that goes with what you're saying that is coming through despite the language barriers.
Right. Yeah.
And so I have a trust in that.
Yeah. 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 Well,
Okay, what I need.
Got what you need? Okay. This is the Bucky Fuller letter. You want to get a zoom on that?
oh, buddy.
Is that okay, Bob?
Sure.
Hmm?